Hey folks, good to see you all again. Glad you're back with me. I appreciate you sticking around for this. Today, I've got a fresh tale to unload, so let's get rolling. I'd been parked at my go-to bar for maybe 30 minutes, sipping slow on my second beer. The waitress had just swiped my empty glass off the table when I took another pull, my head all tangled up in thoughts. Something felt off back at the house, but I couldn't quite nail down what was bugging me. My wife, Lori, had been acting strange for a couple months now, kinda cold, like she was hiding something. Every time I tried to sit her down and hash it out, she'd just clam up and push me away. Our bedroom spark? Pretty much gone, swapped out for this icy standoff vibe. On top of that, she'd started griping nonstop about money, which didn't add up at all. I'd pull in a solid paycheck, more than enough to keep us cozy and happy. We've got stocks, property, and a bank account sitting pretty at about $7 million. But she'd talk like we were one bad day from the poorhouse, which was weird as hell since she'd been all over that fancy country club pass I got her half a year back. I'm not dumb, I could see the writing on the wall. The simplest answer? She's probably stepping out on me, setting herself up to jump ship. Trouble is, I've got two big headaches to deal with. For one, we never signed a prenup, so if she bolts, it's gonna sting my wallet bad. And two, I've got zilch to back up my hunch, just a bad vibe and a knot in my stomach. I tipped my glass back again, brain spinning, when I clocked her walking in. Not Lori though, this gal was a total stranger, drop-dead gorgeous. Every head in the joint swiveled as she scoped the place out, then made a beeline right for my table. She didn't say a word, just slid into the booth across from me, eyeing me up for a sec before opening her mouth. Jake Mercer? I gave her a quick nod. The waitress popped up like she'd been waiting in the wings, snagging her order for a white wine. The second we were alone, she leaned in a touch. I'm Megan Vance. I've got some dirt you're gonna want to hear, she said. I quirked a brow. Yeah? What's that gonna run me? She flashed a slow, sly grin. Not a dime. Play your cards right with what I'm offering, and you'll keep most of your cash, way more than if you just sit there. That perked me right up. Okay, spill it. What's the scoop? Your wife's messing around behind your back. My hand clenched my glass tighter. And how do you know that? She didn't blink. Because it's my brother she's tangled up with. My gut did a hard flip. You've got evidence? She dipped her head. Yeah, pictures, videos, recordings, even some notarized papers. I let out a long breath, letting it all hit me. Damn. You must really have it in for your brother, ratting him out like this. That killer smile came back. Nah, it's the opposite. I'm here because he sent me. He told me to come while he's keeping your wife busy. I frowned, confused. If he's swiping her from me, why is he doing me any favors? Usually, the cheating wife blindsides the husband, grabs the cash, and runs. By tipping me off, you're giving me a heads up to lock down my stuff. How's that help him? Megan's face got real serious. This ain't your average fling. My brother Tyler didn't even know she was hitched when they kicked things off, she chased him down. We only dug into her 2 weeks ago and found out she's still your ball and chain. Took another week to piece it all together. She paused, then dropped another bomb. And we stumbled on something else. She's not just fooling around. She's playing a bigger game. I squinted at her. What's that supposed to mean? You're doing alright money-wise, but next to us, you're just comfy. Tyler's sitting on over $350 million, and your wife's gunning to trade up. I stared, blindsided. You ran a full financial check on me? Megan just shrugged. Had to be thorough. You're worth about $7.28 million, by the way, including that sweet '70 Dodge Charger you're eyeing on the cheap. That threw me. I'd barely breathe a word about that car to anyone. You've really been digging, huh? She nodded, cool as ever. Where we come from, you don't roll the dice on strangers. We had to make sure you're a stand-up guy before we came knocking. And you are. I let out a huff. Fine, but I still don't get it. Tyler hates cheaters and gold diggers. His ex-wife screwed him over, but thanks to a rock-solid prenup, she walked away with squat. He's got zero tolerance for liars chasing a payout. I leaned back in the booth. So what's the play here? Megan's grin turned razor sharp. We don't want you to pull the divorce trigger, not yet. Use this time to shuffle your money around, shore things up so she can't bleed you dry. Meanwhile, Tyler's gonna steer her along. He'll work her until she's the one filing, thinking she's calling the shots. And get this, she'll agree to walk away from you with nothing. I let out a dry chuckle. You seriously think she'll buy that? Oh yeah, she's counting on Tyler's fortune. In a few months, he'll pop the question. She'll have to fess up she's still married, spin some sob story about you being the bad guy. Say you've been split for ages, that you cheated. She'll push for a fast, clean break to lock him down. Megan scooted closer across the table. So, once she's got nothing from the divorce and it's all squared away, Tyler's gonna ditch her. I let that roll around in my head for a sec. So, I keep the whole pot, she's left with zilch, and Tyler gets to school her good? She gave a quick nod. You got it. I couldn't hold back a laugh. Even if this is some wild goose chase, I still want that info you're holding. And I'd like to shake your brother's hand. She got up, polishing off her wine with one last sip, that dazzling grin lighting up her face again. You'll hit it off with Tyler, I bet. I've got a feeling you two are gonna click just fine. Then she strutted out, leaving me sitting there, watching her go, half-dazed. I didn't stand up and thank the universe for some grand award or anything cheesy like that. Nah, that's not how it went down. But the next couple months? Man, I deserves a gold star for the performance I put on. I kept things with Lori just warm enough in the bedroom to dodge any red flags, though I never could figure out why I bothered. Didn't bug me too much, honestly. A few weeks later, I sat down for a big lunch with Megan and Tyler, and I grabbed a few dinners with Megan solo whenever Lori was off playing house with Tyler. Me and Lori? We were basically roommates who didn't even share a Netflix password anymore. Over one of those dinners, about a month after I first met Megan, I had to lay it out. Look, Megan, I hate saying this, but we gotta pump the brakes for a bit. Her eyes widened. What? But we're good together. Yeah, that's exactly why. I shot back. We're getting too good. I ain't like Lori, I don't two-time. I'm a one-gal kinda guy. I don't step out on whoever I'm with. Yeah, Lori and me are barely hanging on, but she's still my wife on paper. I can't kick off something new till that's done. Problem is, I'm catching real feelings for you. I'm not about to toss my principles out the window by jumping into something with you while I'm still tied up legally. Plus, I like you too damn much to mess this up by stooping to her level. Megan let out a heavy sigh. I get it, Jake. You're a solid guy. I respect that you've got a moral compass and stick to it. That's one of the big reasons I'm falling for you, your sense of right and wrong. Probably the reason, if I'm honest. She smirked. Screw Lori. She's too dense to see what she's throwing away. Then she squared her shoulders. All right, we'll cool it for now, but I'm not waiting forever. Let's eat, then you're taking me dancing. After you drop me off, I'll ring Tyler and tell him to light the fuse. It's a month early, but Lori's too clueless to notice. I mean, what kind of dimwit cheats on a catch like you? Man, Megan could dance, she was a whirlwind out there. The way she tore up the fast songs and melted into me on the slow ones, I'm shocked I didn't cave right then and there. Even though it was clear we were a pair, a few guys had the guts to stroll up and ask her to dance. One cocky jerk sauntered over like he owned the place. Before he could finish his pickup line, Megan shut him down with a glare. What's your deal? Mom never teach you manners? Or are you just some schmuck with a big head and a small brain? I'd sooner dance with a barnyard hog than you, especially since you didn't even have the class to check with my date first. She sneered. You swaggered up thinking you're hot stuff, but you're just a loudmouth who couldn't please a woman if he had a treasure map, a compass, and a flashlight. Bet that little shrimp you're packing wouldn't know what to do anyway. Probably why you stuff your pants with socks. The dude slinked off, tail between his legs. A couple other fellas actually came up polite, asking me if I'd mind. I told them it's her call. Megan always waved them off, saying she was keeping every dance for me. Later, when I walked her to her door, she spun around, grabbed my face with both hands, and laid one hell of a kiss on me. This wasn't some quick peck, it was deep, like she was pulling my soul right out and swapping it with hers. It stretched on forever, and when we finally broke apart, we were both gasping. "You don't know how bad I want to haul you inside," she whispered. "Probably as bad as I want to scoop you up and carry you in," I admitted. "But it ain't right. I don't want to kick off something we'd regret down the line." She groaned. "Imagine how killer it'll be when we do it proper, though." Then she grinned. "You and your damn high horse. Why'd I have to fall for a guy so damn honorable?" I locked eyes with her. "Megan, the second that divorce paper's signed, I'll be at your door on one knee, ring in one hand, prenup in the other. I don't care about your cash," she said. "Even if Lori cleans me out, I've got plenty of my own. I love you, Jake, that's what counts." She flashed a grin. "Ring size is 6.5, and skip the prenup. A couple weeks back, I had my lawyer whip up a prenup. Just shoot me your lawyer's info," I told Megan, "and I'll have him send it over." A week after that, I walked in from work and there they were, Lori and Tyler, cozy on the couch. Tyler shot me a smirk and a tiny nod nobody'd catch unless they were looking for it. "Showtime, baby." "Sweetheart," Lori piped up. "We gotta have a chat." I took in the scene, both of them snuggled up, a couple wine glasses and a bottle half gone on the coffee table, and a fat envelope sitting there like a brick. I knew the drill. Megan had tipped me off that morning. I sauntered over, stuck out my hand, and played it cool. "Hey there, I'm Jake. I see you're on the wine train, but I'm more of a craft beer guy. Gonna grab one? Want a beer or sticking with wine?" Tyler grinned, looking tickled. "Nice to meet you, man. Beer sounds good if it's no trouble." I came back with 2 cold ones, cracking them open right there so they wouldn't think I'd spiked anything. Took a swig and plopped into my chair. "All right, what's on the table?" Lori sucked in a big breath. "Jake, this might hit you out of nowhere, but I'm done. I want a divorce. I didn't see it coming either, but me and Tyler? We're in love, like soulmate level stuff. I'm sorry, but our marriage has been circling the drain for a while now. Then Tyler came along, and it just happened. Time's up, we need to cut this loose so me and him can start fresh together." She even squeezed out a tear, pretty slick move. Damn, she might just steal my imaginary Oscar. "Well, Lori, you're right, this blindsided me," I said, leaning back. "We've had our rough patches, sure, but that's mostly 'cause you kept icing me out. I asked what was eating you, how I could fix it, you gave me nothing. I tried all the tricks, fancy dinners, flowers, getting close again. You shot it all down. Even pitched counseling, but you weren't having it." I shook my head. "You're calling Tyler your soulmate now, but funny thing, you said the same about me back when we tied the knot. Instead of putting in work, you're hitting me with divorce papers out of the blue." Lori sighed like she was exhausted. "It's too far gone, Jake. Here's the paperwork. I've split everything fair and square." "Fair?" I snorted. "You lied, cheated, blew my hard-earned cash on yourself, and now you think you're owed a chunk? I bust my hump to keep you comfy, and you stab me in the back, expecting a prize? That's a joke. Good luck getting this divorce quick. I'm lawyering up with the best, and I'll stretch this mess out for years. By the end, there won't be a scrap left for you to snatch." That's when Tyler jumped in, smooth as butter. "Hold up, Jake, hear me out. I'm sorry it went down like this. When we kicked off, I didn't even know she had a ring on. By the time it clicked, I was already head over heels. You love her, I get it, but she's checked out. Here's the deal, she doesn't want to be your wife anymore. Fight it all you want, but this divorce is coming. Digging in your heels just means the lawyers get fat while you lose damn near everything, and so does she. No point in that. We're tying the knot right after this wraps, so no alimony for you to sweat. Plus, I've got deep pockets, Lori doesn't need your stash. What she'd get from you is pennies next to what I'm bringing when we're hitched. Keep the house, your retirement, all the investments, savings, and half the checking account. She takes the other half of checking, her clothes, personal stuff, and her car. Trust me, she'll be set once we're married. I mulled it over, then threw in my 2 cents. Fine, but I've got one catch. She hands back her wedding rings and all the family jewelry I inherited. Oh, and that pricey stuff in the safe? That's mine too. I bought it to pass down to kids and grandkids someday. Tyler glanced at Lori. We talked about this, remember? We've already put him through enough hell. Let's tie this up fast so we can move on and get hitched. You're right, Lori said. I won't need his money with you anyway. Let's redo the papers and sign. We clinked our drinks to seal the deal, and they took off. Now, some of you might figure I'm a cold jerk who drained the joint account to a couple bucks. Nah, that'd tip her off. We usually kept about 10 grand floating in there, so I left it alone. Most guys don't clock this, but they're handing over a gold mine when they skip their wife's closet in a split. Lori's wardrobe? Retail values pushing 60 grand easy. Turns out there's a solid little racket online for top-notch used women's clothes. You won't snag full price, but you can still pull in 50% to 75% of what it's worth. That Lexus of hers, a year old, paid off in cash, was part of the haul too. A week later, me and my lawyer rolled up to her attorney's office to meet him. Her lawyer was practically begging her to rethink the asset split, 90% my way, 10% hers, saying it was a raw deal. Doesn't matter. Lori brushed it off. Soon as this divorce is locked in, Tyler and I are hitched. No alimony to worry about, and I won't need his stuff anyway. I just want this wrapped up fast. We put ink to paper, and the notary stamped it all official-like. Now it was a 60-day countdown till the judge stamped the final decree. Meanwhile, Megan and I started really clicking. We hung out damn near every spare minute. Nah, we didn't hit the sheets. Lord knows we were tempted, got close a few times too, but we held off till the divorce was fully cooked. Tyler and Lori kept their thing rolling strong. She even shacked up with him full-time. Me, Tyler, and Megan huddled up to polish the final moves of our big play. Those 60 days flew by. The final notice landed in my mailbox the day before. I rolled into the mansion's parking lot, that beastly engine rumbling sweet as I eased my '70 Dodge Charger to a stop. I popped the clutch, slid her into neutral, and yanked the parking brake. Stepping out, I brushed down the lapels of my sharp new tux. Had to look the part tonight. This was it. I was finally free of my backstabbing ex, ready to kick off the next stretch of my life. I patted my jacket quick, making sure the goods were snug in the inside pocket, then tossed the keys to a wide-eyed valet, some kid, maybe 20, hustling over while his buddies stared jealous. She's got a mean clutch, go easy on her, I warned as he slid into my Dodge Charger. I'd spent the last month tinkering her into perfection. Now that I wasn't hemorrhaging cash on Lori's nonsense, I could splurge on what I actually gave a damn about. A big OL grin split my face as I climbed the steps into the mansion. Tonight was gonna be one for the books. Right before I crossed the threshold, I caught sight of the next car pulling in, and that flipped the night from epic to straight-up legendary. I let out a chuckle. Lost? Fair enough, I'll fill you in. I was strolling into a divorce bash, thrown to toast the end of me and Lori's train-wreck marriage. I had a legit invite, no kidding. Wasn't there to crash Lori's party. Nah, this was all baked into the plan from the jump. The shindig was at Tyler's swanky mansion. Not a surprise party, but it was loaded with a few curveballs set to drop as the night wore on. The whole gig was rigged to roll Lori out to Tyler and Megan's high society crew. She'd been drooling over this for months. I'd barely stepped inside when Megan swooped in, hooking her left arm through my right like we were glued together. I couldn't wipe the goofy smile off my mug. She started steering me around, name-dropping me to all the big shots in the room. We were halfway through the ballroom when the fireworks kicked off. What the hell's he doing here? That screech, oh, I'd know it anywhere. Next thing, we're nose to nose with Lori and Tyler. Safe to say, Lori wasn't thrilled to spot me at her big moment. On the X she just kicked to the curb. Her new beau popping the question with me in the room would have been awkward as hell. Sorry, Lori, Tyler cut in. But my sister and your ex have been turning heads. She begged me to let her bring her boyfriend. Invite said +1, after all. Whatever. Lori huffed, then glared at me. Just don't make a mess and spoil my night. Lori, I said smooth. For the sake of the good years we had, I'll be a saint tonight. I know how much this means to you. I'll do my part to make sure we all remember this as the night you kicked off your next chapter. 3 hours later, plates cleared and the band jamming, I'm out on the dance floor with Megan when the spotlight swings our way. I twirl her twice, fast, then drop to one knee, ring in hand. Megan, since you crashed into my world, you've been stuck in my head nonstop. You pulled me through the ugliest mess I could have dreamed up. I can't picture the rest of my days without you. Will you marry me? She beamed. Of course. Look, folks, we'd cooked this whole thing up ahead of time, down to the last detail. I'd already put my John Hancock on the prenup before that night. Right there on the dance floor, Megan grabbed me and planted a kiss so deep and fiery it could have melted steel. The whole crowd went nuts, clapping and hollering. That just lit a match under Lori's temper. Her big night was supposed to be all about her, but now everyone's eyes were glued to me and Megan's engagement. What started as her divorce victory lap turned into a full-on party for my next chapter. Took her a solid couple hours to start sniffing out the trap. Tyler, she spat, voice cutting like a knife. You said we'd get hitched the second my divorce was done. It's done now, so why's your sister snagging a ring from my ex while I'm still empty-handed? We haven't even picked a damn date. Her words echoed through the hall, pulling gasps and nosy stares from the fancy folks. She'd been itching to be the star of the show. Well, she got her wish, just not the way she'd pictured it. Tyler let out a slow sigh and faced her. Here's the deal, Lori. These last few months, I've gotten tight with Jake while he's been seeing my sister. He's a stand-up guy. Hell, we're buddies now. Then it hit me. If you could toss a dude like him under the bus, a guy who only ever loved you, what's stopping you from pulling the same stunt on me? Lori's face went white as a sheet, but Tyler kept rolling. You're the one who chased me down, remember? And you fed me that I'm single line till you couldn't hide it anymore. When you finally fessed up about being married, you swore you were splitting up, divorce was a sure thing. Talked to Jake though, turns out that was more bull. He laughed dryly. Why the hell would I lock myself down with a compulsive liar and cheater like you? He took a step back, shaking his head. Nah, we're done. You've got 7 days to clear out before I chuck your crap to the curb. Now, if you'll excuse me, I see some ladies over there worth chatting up. The room went dead quiet. Lori stood there, rooted, embarrassment burning her alive as Tyler strolled off. She didn't go quiet into the night, though. Over the next few weeks, she clawed like a wildcat to undo the divorce, but the proof stacked against her was a brick wall. The judge didn't give her an inch, especially after seeing how she'd bulldozed for that lopsided asset split. Me and Megan? We tied the knot, prenup locked and loaded, not that I was after her cash. I'd carved out my own cushy life, but I'd learned my lesson about covering my ass. Megan thought it was overkill, but I'd signed it before she could kick up a fuss. I mailed Lori a wedding invite though, a slick card with a knockout shot of me and Megan from the big day. No shocker, she didn't RSVP. She didn't end up on the streets, but she crashed hard from that high life she'd been chasing. Landed a gig slinging tacos at Taco Bell, holed up in a crummy studio apartment, and swapped designer tags for Goodwill racks and Walmart undies. She'd gambled on climbing the ladder and lost the cozy setup she'd had in the bag. Still a looker, sure, but gossip spreads like wildfire. Every rich bachelor in town had her number, gold digger, cheater, liar stamped on her forehead. She threw herself at a few more fat wallets, but nobody was biting. About a year later, me and Megan were cruising home from dinner when she nudged me and pointed. That look like Lori to you? I swung my head around. Yep, there she was, propped against a building. Hair done up but messy, rocking a skimpy spaghetti strap top that barely held her together, and a micro skirt slung low, flashing garter straps with every twitch. Those 7-inch ankle boots? She was wobbling like a newborn deer. Even under all that caked-on makeup, bright red lips, smoky black eyeshadow, fake lashes out to here, I could still clock her. The spot told the story. This stretch of town was famous for a certain kind of hustle. A handful of other gals, decked out just as loud, strutted the pavement, waiting for takers. A car rolled up next to Lori. She sashayed over as the passenger window buzzed down. They jawed for a sec, then the door popped open. The guy inside hopped out, flipped the seat up, and Lori ducked into the back. Door slammed, and they peeled out. Megan and I locked eyes for a beat, then we lost it, laughing till we couldn't breathe. Leave a comment with your thoughts on the story. And subscribe to our channel so you don't miss new interesting stories. See you soon.